Hi, I'm Leo Cloud, head of Carlos Games and creator of Axe and Dice, and I'm here to talk about my game, Axe and Dice. So, uh, just a preface, the game is, this is the game. It's one page. It's a double-sided page, but that's still one page. I'm sorry it's so long. No, I made it specifically for people who are either new or either don't want to spend a lot of time or who want to customize it a little bit because this is a very customizable game and I love it. So let's get into it. Axe and Dice is a game where players narrate the story together, a narrative game. The narrative includes the plot and team. The plot is what happens, the team is what you have to say about it. The narrative unites them by emphasizing what is important and minimizing what isn't. So this game is about giving you the choice to express yourself and not be hampered by the rules, but to use the rules as a means of expression. Because game, narration in a game, even in the form of a game, is all about being expressive and doing the things you want to do. So to do these, you need a set of four-sided dice, 6, 8, 10, 12-sided dice, represented by these little uh, drawings. So to make a character, it's really easy. You can make a character. I've seen one guy speedrun it in like 15 seconds. Not kidding. So you will narrate the character's actions and play them according based on their features. Their features are their background. So you write three nouns describing their past. Ask who are they to society? What have they done with their life? What made them who they are? This is like if I ask you who your character is, this is a good way of saying it. You can write a paragraph and you can put like a feature as the as a word in that sentence, in the paragraph, in order to really flesh it out. It's fun. Motive, six verbs that relate to what they do. One, drive, this is central purpose, passion, big deal. Two, two goals, desires, interest, etc. Three, hobbies, things that are fun. It doesn't have to be like, you know, it's everything big. It can be small stuff like golf. That's one of my favorite to do. It's like in Star Trek that all of the characters had like weird hobbies that were not related. Flows. Two adverbs detailing how they are when they shine, and this is like mostly about style. It's good. Faculties. How they are physically. Powerful, dexterous, incredible stamina. What about mentally? Brilliant, quick witted, tremendous concentration. What about the fantastical powers? So that's character creation. That's half of character creation. You're only gonna think of words to describe them. You're gonna focus on who they are, what they want, and what's their style, which is really all of character creation boils down to. Acts and dice pools. This is the meat. Sorry, this is the engine of the system. This is the beating heart. This is what sets it out. So you're gonna see this drawing, and the dice below represent the faculties. And this is the average person. A person you see on the street is gonna have 3d6 or three six-sided dice to represent their physical capacity, and 2 points to represent their vigor, and two d4, two four-sided dice to represent their mental capacities, and one dice to represent their vigor. Vigor is in for the mental capacity is like concentration, ability to stay alert, so things like that, and physically it's stamina, ability to conserve energy, and to endure physical exertion. So when you use a die, each round the die exhausts. What is exhaust? A d12 becomes a d10, a d10 a d8, a d8 a d6, a d4 is gone. Now you get it back after you catch your breath or you rest, but you don't get it until then. So you actually get tired in this game. So as you can see the diagram, you roll the die, yeah, you get a result, you apply vigor on certain dice, the dice downgrade, and you get your die change to reflect the current state of the character. In some settings, people have fantastic powers. These are power dice pools, and if you want to have this, you add it. So in this game, magic is a faculty you have similar to your capacity to do physical action or your capacity to understand and express yourself psychologically, mentally. When you make a character, you have 6 experience points, and you can use them in order to get more dice. So getting another point of vigor is 2 XP, another d4 in any pool, and this could count making a new pool is 2 XP, and upgrading a dice, making a d4 into a d6, a 6 into an 8, etc., is 1 point. This is how you this is how you progress your character in his faculties. So as your player characters achieve their goals, and this is how you level up in this game. You take your motives, and when you take your motives, and when you progress with them, you get more points. So get more points. So a drive, something really important, that's three. Goals, two, and hobbies, one. But you can only do. It's suggested you only get to do one in a campaign. So only one drive, one goal, one hobby. Now, when you are in a scene, and the scene is when things happen, one player is the game director, and they play the non-player characters, illustrate the environment, set up the scene, and arbitrate rules. And a scene usually lasts 3 rounds. I'm a stickler for three because it works out mathematically that way, but you can do it longer if you want to make things a bit more difficult. You can do it shorter if it's going to be easier. And you tell the characters, the players, what's going on. You describe the scene as much as you think is relevant, and then the players tell you what they want to do. Now, most people will tell you what they want to do when they figure out you're done. Sometimes you have to remind them, oh, I'm done. What do you do? And when they do, they're going to tell you, you're going to decide what's the challenge number for them for what they're doing that scene. And it's going to be based on the impact and on the experience a person would need to do this. So if you look at the chart, we have unimpactful. That doesn't change things, doesn't make the plot. It's not. That doesn't move the situation in any way, shape, or form. Impactful. It progresses the situation in a meaningful way, or in a pretty big way to where it's already going, but does so more. And you have monumental, which is a complete turnaround, and this is quite difficult. And for experience, it's how much experience would a person need to have to do this reliably. So you have novice, rookie, seasoned, veteran, and elite. So think about it like it's belts in martial arts. So you have this type of thing. What type of belt would they need to have in order to do this? Like, would this be something a black belt can do, or is this something a green belt or a blue belt or even a white belt could reliably do? And go for the lowest one of that. You could also do this with music. Like how good of a musician do I need to be to play this piece? How experienced would I need to be academically, etc. You tell them the consequences for failure because you can withhold some of it. It's recommended you tell them as much as you can what would fail because that's meaningful for the decision. Sometimes you can withhold it for so, hold it for so. Players roll their dice, and then if they fail, they lose dice. If they fail, they lose dice. Now I have it that if you fail, for each 7 you fail, you lose 1 dice that you have, and when you don't have any more dice in a pool, that's it. You're knocked out. You're knocked out, and your character's left to whatever happens to them. What happened to them? Dice get exhausted, and the rounds keep going. When you finish a scene, dice get when you finish a scene, you get all your dice, and when you finish, and then when you start a new session, all the dice you lost to being injured and failing to address threats, you get them back. So that's about it. That's really all there is. And around there are things you can do. So if you take an action that's related to a feature you have, if it's part of your background, you can double the result of a die. Each background can only be used once in the scene. So if you're a soldier and you're fighting, and this is like a battle I was in, you can leverage your experience and double the result of a die. Motive, if something is really important to you or if something is related to hobby, you can add a die for it. So, for a drive, it's a 12, for a goal, 8, and for a hobby, it's 4. Flair, in a tone, if you use flair, if something fits your character's style, you can treat any result as above average. So, a 5, so on a d6, 1, 2, 3 becomes a 4, on a d8, 1, 2, 3, 4 becomes a 5. So you're guaranteed to hit a certain baseline when you're doing it, which is pretty big. Bowling a die, if you have a die reach its maximum, you can have a die reach its maximum, but it's completely exhaust. So like a d8, it's gone until you catch your breath. Conditions. Some conditions you may reroll any die when acting with a beneficial factor. If another beneficial factor is present, you can reroll once more. Unfavorable factors require rerolling the highest die. Benefits and unfavorable factor cancel each other out with a maximum stacking limit of 3. So let's say you're fighting someone, you're on the stairs and they're below you on the stairs. So you roll your dice and let's say 3, 5, 5, and you reroll the 5. And you reroll the 3 because you have go higher. And it might be a 5, which is makes sense because you're stabbing down, which is easier. But it can also land as a 1 or a 2. And in that case, you slip down on the stairs a bit and your situation's worsened. So, worsened. It's not likely to happen, but it can happen. And I love that sometimes being in an advantageous position doesn't always mean things are better. Heroics. This is a fun one. When a character act at great risk to themselves, the game director can give a hero point. Hero points are used to achieve the maximum result of all die for a single action. So this is something the game director could give, and I love giving these out because when a character has some crazy plan that's like, it's possible that it'll work. Is it likely? No. But is it cool? Is it heroic? Yes. So I just give this to players, and then it's kind of it. Sometimes it guarantees that something incredible happens, and I like that because it's if everybody would play conservatively, yeah, it would make more sense, but it's gonna be a lot less interesting. Order of operations. This is all the things you need to do during a game. You think what you want to do. You tell the game director about your intended action method. The game director tells you what conditions, beneficial and negative, you have. You select the die, you use flare or background if you want to, and roll. Then you can reroll for the conditions. Reroll for the conditions if necessary. You can choose not to for advantage. You have to for disadvantage. You can use hero point, motive dice, or burn a die. And step 3, repeat step 2 until you run out of dice or choose to pass. End of round, apply vigor to prevent any dice from downgrading. Determine which dice are removed due to damage, so failing to do a threat. And 3, dice get downgraded. Now, this is all the rules for the game. It's a pretty simple game. It's only 2 pages long. Oops. Stop with that. It's only 2 pages long, but it's very customizable. So I have, for example, another system, and this is the only example I give because if I wouldn't, I'd be here all day, where it's a game with vampires, and vampires have blood dice. And the blood dice are red, of course. And when you roll them, you get to use your vampiric powers and disciplines. But if they end up, and they don't downgrade to use, but if they end up as the same number as another dice you have, then you get hungry. When you get hungry, you act in a way that that's not predictable and not very nice, and you just go, well, you go become a vampire. That's just one example you can do with dice, and there's many, many more. So I wouldn't give more. One, if you have cool weapons, you can use a weapon, and the weapon just gives you, like, it's a magical weapon. It creates a thunder strike. It gives you 2d4 just to make a thunder if you're using it offensively in order to injure somebody. Uh, there's a bunch of others, but I won't get into them now. You'll have to tune in for those. So thanks for watching. Hope to play with you soon, and happy gaming.